something like this doesn't happen and no one knows. So people know. And fortunately, there are a number of people who give us information. Mr. Phillips here, who is the commander of this division, I've indicated to him, he has given us, yesterday or the day before, a plan of how he wants to proceed from now till the end of the year. I'm sending an additional 40 police officers over here to support what he's doing, and we have some other resources that are coming to him to assist in this process. But the great assistance comes from our people. Understand, we, you, all, and the police are in this fight together. What I'm saying is not just for you, although you are here and present. It's for Jamaica. We are going to be pushing out till the end of the year. There are some key divisions that have been giving us a warm time, and the criminals in there have been giving our police a warm time. So this allocation is not just here, but in a number of divisions, some additional resources. They have brought their plans. It's very clear what they're going to do, and we're going to move at these bad guys. And the discussion must be about crime and the criminals who commit crime. We are after them, and we do not rest. We don't have a break, and we don't have a vacation. We just keep going. All right? So that is our commitment to you as grieving people, and that's our commitment to Jamaica. The enemy has a face and is identifiable, and you saw them the other day. That's what they look like, and that's how they operate. They don't care. They can shoot randomly. If you pressure them, they'll just kill anybody. Right? We are constrained and restrained in how we function. So when you hear the nonsense trying to make those guys, those youngsters, put themselves in harm's way, protect the rest of Jamaica as the problem, it's a nonsense. And I notice I hear calls all over the place to ask me to comment on what the minister had said about shooting every single time that the police and gunmen engage. The police must win. Is that clear now? Okay, every single time. All right, so, and we shoot center of mass. That's where we shoot, that's where we train to shoot. That's it. And we make sure that our people are well trained. Right? So, I don't know if there needs to be any more clarity on that. So that's all I'm going to say on that matter. At the moment, we are dealing with grieving families. Right? And all kinds of thoughts are going ahead. And you drift in and out as you think about it. Traumatized by what has happened. And even those people who are not, probably just haven't realized that they're processing things. Because you'll process it. Over the next few days, you're going to go through a cycle. At one point, you're going to be angry. At one point, you're going to be sad. At some point, you're going to be, hopeless. And then hopeful. And with the support of the organization, and with the support of each other, you will get through this as well. The enemy has a face and is identifiable, and you saw them the other day. That's what they look like. And that's how they operate. They don't care. They can shoot randomly. If you pressure them, they'll just kill anybody. Right? We are constrained and restrained in how we function. So when you hear the nonsense trying to make those guys, those youngsters, put themselves in harm's way, protect the rest of Jamaica as the problem, it's a nonsense. And I notice I hear calls all over the place to ask me to comment on what the minister had said about shooting every single time that the police and gunmen engage. The police must win. Is that clear now? Okay, every single time. All right, so, and we shoot center of mass. That's where we shoot, that's where we train to shoot. That's it. And we make sure that our people are well trained. Right? So, I don't know if there needs to be any more clarity on that. So that's all I'm going to say on that matter. At the moment, we are dealing with grieving families. Right? And all kinds of thoughts are going ahead. And you drift in and out as you think about it. traumatized by what has happened. And even those people who are not, probably just haven't realized that they're processing things. Because you'll process it. Over the next few days, you're going to go through a cycle. At one point, you're going to be angry. At one point, you're going to be sad. At some point, you're going to be, hopeless. And then hopeful. And with the support of the organization and with the support of each other, you will get through this as well.
Well, just to sum up what Major General Anthony Anderson has just said in the meeting, I'm sure the citizens are feeling on edge. They're not feeling safe. The children are terrified. You can just imagine living in that type of environment where you're just constantly on edge, right? You don't know what's going to happen. This is worse than torture, I'm telling you. And then the kids, they have to witness everything. And then the aftermath again with the woman crying and screaming, and the children are witnessing everything. This is a lot of people are walking around and they are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, and they're not aware of it. And it takes a mental toll on you. Sometimes you don't know what you're doing, right? You're so lost because of all the violence that's going on around you. You just can't cope, right? You're just going day to day, but like you're not really there. And you can just imagine what the children are going through. They're not focused, and the children have to get a lot of counseling, and same thing applies to the adults as well, right? But the children, I just can't imagine. They are suffering. To see the day-to-day violence and the bloodshed and the death and everything around you, that alone, can set people off mentally, right? And you just have to be there for each other and make sure that if you see someone, going down a path, you just try to, before that even happens, right? Try to get help, try to seek help. I'm not hearing human rights coming around. They should be there supporting the victims of crimes. They should be there offering counseling. They should be there visiting the victims in the hospital. They should be there helping financially as well. Because, when you're in the hospital, there's so many things you're going to need, right? And the aftercare, all of that. People who are taken out, their families are going to need financial support as well, right? So I believe that's what human rights should be there for, to support the victims 99% of the time, right? We have to stand behind the authorities 100%. The Major General is saying that because the discussion at all times must be around crime and criminals, and how the community, or we as a whole, not just their community, but on a whole, how can we help them in that fight, right? And as I said before, that there's a handful of police officers that when information is transferred or when information is given to them, somehow that information gets mishandled, hoping that when the citizens give that information to officers, to the police, it gets to the right person. Information should be kept confidential at all times. And they have to respect themselves and respect the badge and know that you're there to serve the people. And the support of everyone is paramount, right? And you can't have people coming out speaking on behalf of criminals. You can't. It's just not right when there's rampant violence day to day, like daily. There's no ease up, no breaks for the citizens, right? It's just constant. Like who can survive under this type of pressure? This is a lot of pressure on top of the economic pressure, the violence, right? It's too much, right? And people are going to crack under this type of pressure. Since everywhere have to come together and support and help and be there for the police officers as well in order to combat crime, right? I just like to share this story, right? A couple days ago, a police officer was sitting in his vehicle. He was in training, like he's a veteran of the police force, but from time to time they do get training because he's been there for 20 years, right? And he got a break and he was on his way to get some coffee and donuts from a shop, right? A donut shop. And the officer was caught off guard, sitting in his patrol vehicle, right? And this criminal came up and tried to get the officer's weapon, right? And because it has a special latch on it, of course, for security purposes, he had problems getting it out of the holster. The officer ended up getting SHOT and he passed away, unfortunately. I think it was within 2 hours. I'm going to show you what came on my phone as well, because there's a loud noise description of the vehicle, that's out there. It's going on, basically, right? So just to get back to what I was saying, the officers found the man that took out the officer, and he was found in another city, right? In about an hour or two, he was found. He was in a body bag. You cannot allow criminals to run the place, right? If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Decisive action. If you take out a police officer, you've already given up all rights, right? When you take out police officers and you take out citizens and all of this, do you still have rights? Do you still have rights? When you're going around and taking off children's HEADS, taking out kids, taking out women, taking out elders, and just citizens in general, right? Do you still have rights? You have a responsibility as a citizen to uphold the law. And this is what I want human rights to come out and preach and condemn. These brutal, barbaric actions against unarmed citizens. Women, mothers, mostly. Parents, any parent who hide their child and know that they're involved in taking out people, robbing people, and all types of criminal activity, they should be charged. The full force of the law should come down on them. Our condolences go out to Constable Hong's family and friends, and it's very sad that his life was taken that way.